using up some paper called Traditions of Christmas, and you can see I had more than this, but I've been using it for this project. So I wanted to share with you, this is the actual paper pack that I'm going to be using. But I tell you guys, if you have multiple like paper packs, you could mix and match on this one. I think you could. And I just think it makes for a super cool gift. So again, if you're a demonstrator, you would have received this as your December 31st Success Weekly email, and it has all the measurements and everything there. But I will give them to you guys pretty standard. So what you're going to need is some strips that are 3 5/8 by 10. So that's the size we're working with. And I do want you to know, I did try it with 4 by 12s, and it comes out to be just too tall, because I thought, well, that way I don't waste anything. And this is kind of nice, because sometimes you're left with something that's less than 4 inches. So I'm going to show you how to make a couple, and then we are going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to put it all together, and then what you can kind of stuff inside of it. And we'll make some of those things too. All right, so first thing we're going to need is our paper trimmer. And we are going to take this piece that is 4 by 10, and on the short side, we are going to score it. And I'm going to flip it on this side. It might be a little easier for you to see. And I'm going to go to a 1/4 inch, and I am going to score it at a 1/4 inch. And then and remember, this is designer paper, so you just don't want to go too terribly hard. Then I'm going to flip the other way and do the same thing. So 3 5/8 by 10 inch strips. You could cut a whole bunch of these. So if you're watching a game or something like that, you could have all of your old paper sitting around, and you could do like a bunch of these. So a 1/4 inch on both sides, and then at 5 inches, we're gonna score right there at 5 inches. All right, so we're gonna do that with these two, because I'm gonna show you how to do 2 of them. So we'll do a 1/4 inch, and I absolutely love both sides of this designer paper. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful Christmas suite that they offered. But I'm sure we're all ready, right? We're all ready to start spring and Valentine's Day and all of that. So again, we want to make room for all that extra paper. Okay, so I'm going to set this off to the side. And we are now going to take these 2 pieces, and we're going to get out our bone folder, and we're just going to take those 1/4 inch score lines and bend them back, and then just gently put our bone folder over them as well. Now, one of the things as you do this, I found if I start in the middle and I just use my fingers to go straight down along the sides, you get a good crease versus really, again, maybe going a little too hard and then splitting the paper, right? Which I've done that too. So then we're gonna crease at that 5 inch mark. So we're gonna do the same thing with this one. Just bend those along the side and go on both sides. And again, just burnish the edges. When I first heard that word burnish, I know I've shared this with you guys, but I'm like, burnish, what does that mean? I knew what they were doing, but I never really got it, right? So burnish is just creating a solid crease in your card. You are burnishing the edges. And you know, if you don't have a bone folder, you can use your finger, your nail. There is a reason though, because you could take like just a butter knife and take the edge and just kind of gently go along the edges. But this is a nice, it's light, and makes for a good little creasing tool. And you'll use it for other things too, like to hold stuff down. It has lots of purposes. All right, so as you can see, we have now made 2 scored pieces, and we are now going to glue these together to make ourselves a little pocket. That's what we're doing. We're going to take a bunch of pockets and we're going to glue them together. Now, the instructions say to use tear and tape, which is perfect. The tear and tape is, well, I have a couple different ones here because I get some. So let me show you with tear and tape, and then I'm going to show you with liquid glue. So with tear and tape, I'm just going to go right along the edge, like, you know, just take my piece of tear and tape and go all the way up right to the, almost to the edge, right? And then I can just do that on both sides. Now I only have to do it on one side of the fold though, right? I don't need to, oops, excuse me. I don't need to put tape on both sides. That's a given, I guess, but just gonna say, I thought about it when I did this the first time. All right, so there we go. Okay, so again, I'm just gonna run the crease over it. And then if you have a take your pick tool, you're gonna go up to the edge, okay, the edge side here. And you're just gonna put your pointer here right underneath, and then it will just rip right off. And we'll do this side and do the same thing. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take my two sides here, and I am just going to glue or adhere those down. Now, one thing about tear and tape, as you all know, right? When you stick it, it stays. There's like no room for error, so to speak, right? You put it on, it's there to stay. Okay, now let me show you liquid glue, and my glue ready. And I'm just going to do a bead of glue all the way down, but I don't want to get it too close. I want it to go right down the middle, all right? Because it oozes a little bit. And again, you only have to go very, very lightly. You could use the fine tip glue pen too that Stampin' offers, and do a fine bead of that because it has that needle top. And then I'm just going to push this down as well, only of course with our liquid glue we have wiggle room. And I can't remember if I said this in a video. I did buy some other glue for another project. And it is glue that when you, it's liquid glue, but when you glue it, it's stuck. And I like it in some ways, but when I am making cards, I love that ability to wiggle it around. And that is very nice with this, this Tombow glue or green glue. Okay. So now what we're going to do is now we have these two, awesome little pockets. All right, so next up is we are going to take a hole punch, and we're going to take, I have the 1 7/8, so if the 2 inch is also out there, I believe that you can purchase online. You can use any punch you have. You can use a die if you want, all right? But what we're looking to do is to create a little bit of a half moon here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the piece of paper in, and I'm going to line it up with this at the bottom of this little circle in the middle. I'm just going to put my paper right there. That's my kind of halfway point. You also have some little dents right here. If you can see those, you can, some people also make that like a halfway point if you're ever wanting to do like a half circle. All right, so I am going to put this through, and I'm going to go right to the bottom of this circle. And then I'm also looking on the left and right side to make sure that it is even on both sides. Now, it doesn't have to be like so perfect, but you do want to get it to where those are kind of, for the most part, the same. All right, now I'm just gonna punch that out, and this is what I get. So I get this cool little envelope with this circle, and I'm gonna do that again. By the way, keep these, all right? We're gonna use those. And then I'm gonna do the same over here, and I'm just gonna put it like that. And again, punch it out, save my circles, put those off to the side. All right, so there we go. So now we have 2 envelopes. Now I have a bunch of others that I've already done, but let me show you what you do with these. Well, let me bring in our package here, which I guess doesn't matter. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is, this is a whole bunch of them that I've already done. Is this not the coolest thing? It's just a bunch of little envelopes stuck together. And look at how it like fans out. I don't know. I think it's just super cool. Now what I want to do is I'm going to take the back and I'm going to do a blue one, and then a red one. All right. So this is what you do. You're going to take your tear and tape again. And oops, this tear and tape. This one's almost done. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a strip of tear and tape and put it right down the middle. It does not have to be perfect. It doesn't have to go to the very top and the very bottom. It just has to be somewhere in the middle. And I do think tear and tape is probably the best for this. I think it's going to just hold it a lot better. However, with that said, right, we just talked about how when you stick it down, it really needs to stick. So one thing I found is if I hold it up flat and then put the piece like between my fingers, then I can go right together, and now it will stick right at the same point. Now you guys can see these are like, if I look back here, first of all, I made one a different size, so it's really big. But you can see they're not exact, but when you look at it, no one's gonna really notice that. So I just wanted to point that out. Don't think perfection when you're doing this. Although you can, but it's funny how much you learn about people when you craft with them. Just how much of maybe a perfectionist they are. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna flip this right off. And now we'll add another one. And this is basically what you do. You basically, you're just gonna take all these envelopes and you're just gonna keep adhering them together until you get the number of pockets that you want. So this one has probably more than I initially wanted, but that's okay. So there we go. So now what do you do with them? You can put in these envelopes, and I made a little sticky but you can put a tag in here. You can put like a little mini card, a gift card holder, picture, flip flaps, all kinds of things in this little compartment. So we're just gonna make a couple things, and then we're gonna decorate it with a belly band. And I'm actually going to show you guys too how we're going to create like a little kind of a little folder over top of it. So when someone opens it up, they're going to have this nice cascading with all these different little surprises inside. So first, let's go ahead and make a gift card holder, because I think that would be, that would be perfect. So I'm going to grab my paper trimmer again, and we are going to cut. So just so you know, these pockets are now about 3 1/8 inch. All right. So I'm going to make this about 2 7/8. All right. Because I need a little bit of space in there. So 2 7/8. And we know this is 5 inches. So I'm going to make this 5 1/2. Okay. So it is 2 7/8. And I'm going to make it 5 1/2. And then I'm going to score it at, let me just double check something here. I just want to make sure. Yeah. And then I'm going to score it at 4.5. Okay. So, oops. So I basically have something that looks like this. All right. And what we're going to do is we are going to first put some designer paper right here. And I have some that is like a light green, again, going to that same paper pack that I was using. And I'm going to cut this about 4 3/4. Or I'm sorry, hello, 2 3/4, right? Because we just said that was 2 7/8. So we'll do 2 3/4. So now you could really start to use up some of your scraps. But I'm just going to take this and put it right up against this, the top here. All right, so we're just going to take this. We'll adhere some glue. And oops, I might need that paper again. I just realized we'll use another piece of it. And if you guys ever don't have, you know, like enough designer paper, you're coming to the end, you know, take some cardstock and emboss it, or just score it. There's lots of ways that you can make it look kind of fancy without needing, you know, any kind of, there we go. Now we're just going to put adhesive on 2 sides to adhere that down because again, we're making a pocket for a gift card. There we go. I don't even have a gift card to try this in, but I'm pretty sure one fits in there. I'm going to look off camera real quickly, you guys. I'm going to take something off camera and just make sure. Oh, yeah. Easy. I have a credit card on the side here. And I didn't want to, don't want to share that number. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I have this 1-inch piece here. And I also have in my stash over here just lots of strips and that kind of thing. So I'm just going to see if there's one that maybe would look fairly nice over here that we could just add a little pop of. Yeah, I think we'll do that. It just looks like a little bit of greenery. We'll do that at 2 3/4. So let me bring the paper trimmer back in. And oops, we'll use this side here. And again, you know, it's all going to look beautiful because in some way, shape, or form, it all blends together, right? Okay, so we're going to take, let's see, I could use that piece, couldn't I? Okay, I think I'm going to use the sparkly side. I don't know why I think that just looks a little, they probably both look okay, but we'll use this side here. All right, so we will put this right here, and that looks so pretty. And now what we're going to do is we are going to take our not the 1 7/8. We're going to use the other one. That's one. I have a 1.5 inch here, and I'm going to punch out a piece of cardstock. Now this is different, okay? Just so you guys know, I told you to save those other pieces. That is for something else. So I'm just going to take this 1.5. Now I can just, honestly, I could just bend this in half, but for this one, I think I'm going to go ahead and I just have to go right between the 2 3/4 inch marks, and I'm just going to run a score line across it, and now I can fold it. Now, you can put a hole punch in here with some ribbon. I'll show you how to do that as well. But for this one, we're just going to make a tab, okay? We're just gonna make a little tab right up here, and we're gonna have it stick out just a bit, because now what we can do is come over here to one of our pockets, and we're just going to slide this right in. So let me get it on one side. Da, 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 da. And I can just, you can see how that slides down. So I'm gonna want it, actually, you know what? I think what I'm gonna do is put it all the way down, and then I might actually attach a, cause this one I made pretty low, thinking it might be good. But I think if you guys had to do this, make them 5 1/4 or 5 1/2, or I'm sorry, 5 inches. Okay, or 4 7/8. So that way it fits right up top there. But what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna put it right here and make sure I can find somewhat of a center point, which that looks like it's in the center. And we're just going to adhere this right to this piece of cardstock. And what we might end up doing is, not for this one now, but like punch a hole is what I might do on some of the other ones, and do a ribbon. So there we go. But now I can take this, and again, I would probably punch a ribbon in it now that I know it's maybe size limitation, and I'm just gonna put that right inside there. And now I can make a whole bunch more of these and make gift tags and everything else. So let's just say we want to do, let's go ahead. I've got this piece here. Oh, and it's perfect. It's 5 inches. So let's cut this to 2 7/8. Okay. And we'll make a nice, let's make a nice gift tag with this one. And we'll take this flower paper here, and we'll cut this piece at 2 3/4. Okay, so 2 7/8 is our cardstock, 2 3/4. There we go. And we'll adhere this down. Now I'm going to make a very rudimentary little hole on here, but just because I don't have a hole punch right here. But now if we take this and we just adhere it nicely to our piece of cardstock here. Let me just try to get that a little more centered. There we go. And then let's go ahead and let's see, I have this little strip here. I'm just gonna put that across the middle, and then we'll do this one at 3, I think I did that at 2 7/8, right? So we'll do 2 7/8. So it goes all the way across. And then I'm gonna show you, oops. So we'll put this right there. And then we'll punch a hole, put in some ribbon, and I think I might see, oh, no, I was gonna say, I think I see a little piece of ribbon I can use. I have some over here. So however you want to create layers for your gift tags, okay? Because remember, we're now creating something that we're gonna use later on, right? We're going to use it for next Christmas, that we can give as maybe an early gift or whatever. So what I have is I have a lot of these stickers. You guys may have some of these left over as well from when, you know, you had purchased this pack and now you've got some that are left over. So I'm looking to see if this will fit here. This might be, oh, nope, it's just going to barely, it's going to just fit perfectly. So I think what we'll do is we will use, I'm looking for one that maybe I have a boatload of, which I do have a lot of these. So let's see if this one fits nicely. Oh, and look at that. It is perfect. So let's put Season's Greetings on here. And the nice thing too about these is, one, we don't have any stamping in this project. If you're able to use some of these labels, which these are wonderful, I will say. I think they're perfect. They don't, you don't have to stamp anything. They have some, they're like a card stock. They're pretty heavy. And we're just going to put that right down the middle there. Make sure I get that straight. There we go. And now I can put a piece of ribbon, which I've got a little ribbon left over here. And I'm thinking, now I typically would tell you guys, go get yourself a hole punch. And I have one somewhere here, but just for the sake of this, we are going to just punch a hole, I think, right through here. There we go. And we'll just take it all the way up and back. And look at that. Actually, it's a nice, it's not a bad little hole. Okay, so I'm just going to take a small amount of this ribbon, because we're going to use it for some other things. So we'll just cut that. And then of course we will take both these sides through, create a loop, and then we'll feed it in through the other side. So now that we have both, we're just going to pull those right through the front loop. And now we have a nice tag. So then on the back, we want to put a piece of basic white, just a small piece. I'm just going to let me grab a small piece of white that we can trim down. So here we go. So here's a piece of white, and we'll just put it on the back, and then we can write a message, or we can just stamp to from. Simple as that. So let's just grab our trimmer again, and we'll make this about 2 inches. Okay. And that way, whoever is receiving this gift, it gives them, you know, enough room to put whatever they might want on the back. So you guys, of course, could make some flip cards in here. You could make 25 pockets and have something for each day, and have the top here be a number. So there are a lot of different ways to use these envelopes. I even think for Valentine's Day, you could label them, you know, as, you know, you pull one out and, you know, do the dishes for the day, or pick up the kids, or whatever it might be. So now I'm just going to take this one and pop it in to one of those, and you guys can see how you can just really start to fill this up with a variety of fun fun little treats. And it's just, I don't know, I think it's just the coolest thing. All right, so now what I want to show you is just how to finish kind of decorating it, and then we'll be done. So one of the things I was thinking of doing that was not on the video is creating almost a little flap for the top of it. So instead of it being completely open. So I think what I'm going to do is make, this is 3 1/8. So I'm going to make a lid here that is also 3 1/8. So if I assume it's going to go maybe about 2 inches, or maybe an inch on the back and 2.5 inches. So I need about 3.5, and then on the top about an inch or so. So we'll give ourselves 4.5 inches. And then we are going to cut it to be 3 1/8. Okay, because that gives us that's going to give us our width. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to score it because I want just about an inch on the back side. Actually, you know what, let me take that back. I'm going to do about an inch and a half on the back because I need it to be past the last bubble, right? Because when somebody opens it up, I need to make sure the adhesive is past that initial bubble. All right, and then we know it's gonna fill up, so we're gonna give it about, let's see, if I fill that up, it's about an inch. So then we will score at another inch here, and that will give us the 2 that we need. So if you're looking, you're going to score at 1.5 inches, 1.5 and 2.5. Okay. All right. So now I am going to adhere this just around the back side. And again, I'm just going to I don't want to go crazy with the adhesive. But now if I put this right over where that 1.5 inch mark meets, I now can adhere that down. And then it's going to go over, and then I have my my score thing right there. So you can see as it opens up. All right, so now the other thing we're going to do is we can put a little Velcro button right here as well. So let me go grab that. Okay, so I have these Velcro dots, and that's what we're going to use. We're going to use one of these to close it up. And so we'll just take the Velcro piece and we're going to attach it to the fuzzy piece. Now what I have found is I normally attach the Velcro to the bottom and the fuzzy piece to the top. So I'm just going to put this right here, and then when I close it, and again I want to just make sure I have this kind of fully expanded to that 1 inch, right? And then I can just line it up and then push it down. So now I've got this adorable accordion here with this nice closure, and now we have just one more thing. Just one more thing. Now what we're going to do is you are going to take a piece that is of your cardstock that you have left over. And I had it here. Let me just find it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So then we have this right here, and this measures 1 3/4 by 10. Okay, so 1 3/4 by 10. And I am actually going to just wrap this around my accordion folder. Now again, this is going to expand. So as you decide, you know, how, because again, I've got more to put in here, just make sure that you are giving yourself, you know, a good inch in between. Okay, So you might want to bend your first one and then score, like I'm looking and seeing, okay, that's kind of where it's falling right now. So if I just kind of bend at that point, I can do that. So again, maybe it's better to do this after you're maybe a little further along in your process. But we'll just say I'm going to do it right about there. Okay. All right. So that gives me a good amount to expand to. I'm going to turn it around and basically do the same thing. Let that sit right there. Pull it from the back. Okay. Bend that down. Excuse me. Now you guys could score this, okay? If you want to get real precise, I would wait and do your belly band until you're completely done. So I'm just going to make sure that this is fitting nicely around that side of it. And then I'm going to, again, just expand that out a little bit, find that kind of place where it's scoring or, you know, sitting nicely, because I'm going to fill it up and we'll just adhere that right down. There we go. Now, I have my nice little belly band. And, you know, I did it this way, but I am thinking if you wanted to do, like, the flowery side, now that I did all that, let's see what that looks like. I might like that. What do you guys think? I don't know. I think I'm going to do the red side, and I'll tell you why, because we're going to put something in the middle there. So, okay, so let me do the red side, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere this closed. So right here on this piece, I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive. Get that all nice and glued down there. All right, there we go. And again, if you decide to do your belly band after you're all done, you might find that does work a little better because it doesn't slide. And two, you also know exactly how much room you have to grow. All right, but for us, this will work because then I can see that I can move it and make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to punch a 1 inch, a 1.5 inch circle. All right, so I'm just going to take a piece of this green that I already have a hole punched in. So again, using our scraps. Now, remember all those punches. Let me take this off for a moment. So all of these little half moons that I got from punching all of these out, well, now I am going to use those to make like a little flower, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adhere adhesive on all of this, and I'm going to take these and start in the center, and I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to find kind of the center, and I am just going to lay these down to get a little bit of a pattern. So I'm going to put the dots together about like that. And I'm just going to keep going around, in a circle here. And you can do a little bit along this side too, if you would like. But this way, we're kind of using up all of our pieces and just eyeball it between the different ones here. Okay. And then we'll do this one. Again, lining it up. Now, I did lay this out beforehand too, just so I could kind of see, you know, what it would look like. And you might want to just do the same. Because I don't want to run out. And that's what I was thinking. I thought, oh boy, if I don't space those correctly, I potentially could run out or not kind of get them in the right little flowery order that I wanted. So I had them all lined up and then I moved it. So, but that's okay. All right, so here we go. We're just going to keep going around and finish the circle. Oops. There we go. I have 3 more, so let me make sure I kind of get these right. Oh, I have more too. Now you guys could do a different front too. This was just something I thought is a great way. Again, this paper is so pretty, and I think it's a great way to use up just these last pieces that you may have. So I'm maybe a little out of order here, but I think it's gonna work. Okay, let's do another red here. Kind of cluster that in there, a little bit along the edge. Oops. And then do another piece right here, and hopefully we can get in there with just one more and be good to go, and I think so. Now I could maybe do one more right there, so why don't we do that? Do one more. All right, so you guys can see basically, look at that, we have this beautiful little like flower that we've made. It's actually huge. And now what we're gonna do, so we made a circle for the bottom, but now we're gonna make a circle for the top. Now those are probably not gonna line up just because I was a little off on that piece, but I'll put another circle here, and we will do that in Cherry Cobbler. And let me see if I have a piece of cobbler over here. I may have used it all, and that is totally fine. So we'll use just a piece of this old olive. That kind of brings in the top piece as well. So I'm just going to take this and make a 1-inch circle here, and we are going to adhere that right down in the center. Now I could actually, maybe we will pop that up on dimensionals, because what I'm noticing is it's a little puffy in the center there. So by putting it up on dimensionals, that will make it look more like it was just supposed to be that way. So here we go. So let's go ahead and put dimensionals all around this. And that is going to be beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. And then we have one more thing to do. All right, so we will sit that in the middle here. And there is our pretty flower. And now those nice gold letters that we had here, we can use, excuse me, one of these. We can do the circle in the middle, or we do like words across the side. Since this is a, excuse me, since this flower so big and we're putting it on a belly band, excuse me, I think I'm going to just do the word joy here. So since we have this circle, we're going to put the word joy here, excuse me, in the middle. All right, so now we're going to adhere that to the center of our nice belly band here. So it's going to go right like that, and we're going to adhere it with adhesive. So, excuse me, as you guys can see, the majority of that is covered here in the middle. So we're just going to really put the glue down. And now we can fit this right in the middle. So once I get it kind of lined up with the words in the center, I'm going to go ahead and push that down. And we'll get that adhesive to adhere. And just double check it. Isn't that pretty? I just think that is so lovely. And a great way to use all those half circles there. And now what we can do is take this, double check for glue there. And this is going to fit right over the top. And look how pretty that is. And then we can, of course, add some embellishments on top of that. But this is just such a lovely gift. And you guys, that belly band is just going to fill right in as you add more, excuse me, as you add more items to your envelope. But I just love it. I really encourage you, would love to hear if you try this. I will post this to my blog on Saturday, and would love for you to comment. It's also going to be on my Facebook page, which is 4 Seasons Crafts page. And you can comment there if you have made this, or even maybe post a photo of what paper you used. Because this is I think I'm just going to make a whole bunch of these with all the old Christmas paper that I have. I just think it's a very fun idea, and I thought it really came together nicely. And we were able to add to it as opposed to just making the folders, which is beautiful all by itself. But by just adding a lid and, you know, using those circles, I feel like it really finished it off nicely. So there you guys go. I hope you loved it. I look forward to hearing from you, and we will see you again next Saturday. Take care. Bye.